Hi, today we're going to talk about why finding a safe partner can trigger a mental health breakdown. And I know that's a wild combination of things if you think about it. Like you find a safe partner to be with, and it's really something to celebrate. It's a massive accomplishment, especially if you've got a history of complex trauma, abuse, or neglect. This is a major achievement and accomplishment, and there's some things to look forward to here. And this can actually cause a mental health breakdown, and this does for lots of people. And if you don't know what's happening, you can really you can't really take advantage of the healing that you can have, that this can create. And this is a healing function. This is, your brain is not melting down for no reason. I'm going to talk today about the brain work behind that, why that's the case, and what you can do about it. And if you're somebody who this is happening to now, you're going to relate very strongly with this. If this is something that you're noticing your partner is doing, like I thought this was going to be awesome, and now they're having a mental health breakdown, I'm going to show you why and what that's about. And this is a real thing, um, what you can do about it, and if you're about to go into, or if you're now in a place where you're looking for a healthy partner, you can prepare for this in advance. Okay, and you can understand why it's going to occur, and you can get ahead of this. But um, there's only so much healing, yeah, and elevating your partnership programming you can do outside of actual partnership. So your brain's going to be able to do a lot more things in this relationship than it was able to do outside of it on your relationship programs. Okay, I'm nerding already. But that's what we're going to talk about here. That we're going to nerd out, and because I want you to understand why your brain's doing this so that you can help it. Okay, and then you can get back to enjoying your new partner, hopefully very quickly. Um, So, my name's Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist and an emotional wellness coach, and I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And the brain has a really beautiful process for that, and that process gets stopped or blocked. And so, my entire focus is getting that part of the brain, that process unblocked and moving forward and helping your brain do the healing work, the symptom resolution work it was designed to do. And now, the other awesome things that that same symptom resolution process does is it also elevates emotional intelligence. It also helps improve higher functioning. This is really important when we want to function higher in relationships, higher in our goals, higher in our relationship with ourselves. This process is also that same process. It all happens together. You might be like, I need my heart to stop racing. Okay, I love that. And we're going to help that. And while we do that one thing, 5, 6, 7, 8 other things are going to be happening at the same time that are going to be awesome. It's the behind the scenes work that your brain can finally accomplish. But the front of the scene work that you get is that heart stop racing. So I want you to know there's a lot more in here than just symptom resolution. So, and this is important, every place in our lives where we take our brain. That's why when we get this process unlocked and moving forward, unblocked, all of a sudden every area of our life improves. Right. So, yes, this is how we improve our mental health, but this is how we grow in our lives, and we really, um, everything gets better because your brain is responsible for that. Now it can, and it gets to work, which puts us right on topic. Um, but let me show you something, because this is important to our conversation that you need to understand. Your This process that I talk about that gets blocked and stopped, it gets stopped at the survival system part of the brain, the limbic system. And they're sitting on top of the brainstem, reading all the sensory data, emotional data, and they kind of are the gatekeepers between whether the information is going to come up to the top of the brain and be processed, analyzed, translated, reworked, solutions being made, executive functioning. Will this information go to executive functioning, or are we actually in danger and we need to hijack the system and go into survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, faint, or fawn? So this part of the brain gets to check first, right? And so it's listening for safety signaling. Are we safe or are we in danger? Pain signals we're in danger, right? So if there's pain, the tendency for this part of the brain is to lock it down and survive. And that's good. right? It's excellent. If you're touching a hot burning stove, you want your this part of the brain to register pain and make you release it instantly. This part of the brain is awesome, and it's not a logic and reasoning center, so we can't argue with it. We can't logic or reason with it. Okay, that's going to come into this conversation. You need to know this. This part of the brain doesn't care about what you think. It is an overrider of thoughts. It is above thoughts, even though it's below the thoughts in actual like structure, anatomy, right? So it gets information first, and so it's going to respond. So through this your system, and okay, this is your spine, right? This is the brainstem, this is your limbic system and your executive functioning. So if pain is coming up your spine because it's coming from your hand or something, or maybe it's a memory. We keep memories in our body that haven't been resolved yet, and we keep memories anyway. Back on track. It's coming up here. It's hitting the if it's danger, it's hitting the limbic system, and it's gonna we're gonna lose our executive functioning. We're gonna flip our lid. It's gonna go offline. It's going to become under the influence and direction of the survival system, and so that's why you can't really logic and reason yourself because they've been hijacked. Okay. Also, if we're receiving safety signaling, the survival system will say, oh, there is pain, but we're also safe. And so we will we'll go into a processing, healing, rest, and digest function. And so the mind body system and the executive functioning gets to work on the pain, resolve it, translate it, understand it. What did it mean? What happened? What are we learning about the earth plane? What are we learning about who we are? What are we learning about our body? Those sorts of things are happening automatically, right? So this part of the brain is responding. That control center that's doing this is responding to safety signaling. So if there is safety, there's gonna be a lot of healing. All of a sudden, the system is up and running, flowing, and this system and the body is being able to tell the top of the brain all the things. All the things while we were in danger, we couldn't tell you. Now we're going to tell you. And so there's a flood of information that moves through and starts processing. That sounds really wonderful. And the longer you've been in survival mode, and then that safety signaling comes up and is really good, your survival system's like, oh yeah, we're going to open these doors and we're going to let the brain do the healing work of all that backlog of work we couldn't do while we had the system locked down. Now a lot is happening and healing is beginning and it's taking place. Okay. That's wonderful. That's a healing function. Anytime there's safety, we're going to move into a healing function. Okay. And that leads us back to now you have a safe partner, right? And you are with that partner, and oh my gosh, I can see you. You can feel from them that they can see you, they can hear you. The messages that you're getting from them in so many verbal and nonverbal ways are there is room for you here. I'm patient with you. You matter. Your experience matters. Yeah, right? You're getting all that safety signaling. That your system is feeling that. You can feel that move through your body. It's hitting your survival system. Your survival system is like, oh, we are safe. And then you shift out of survival mode and into a healing mode. Now, this is wonderful. This is a healing process. If there is more processing here than you can tolerate, it's going to be a lot. It might be too much, and this is why you have breakdowns. If we just get right to the story here, this can cause a breakdown. And your brain is breaking down all of the it's like all the stuff in the body of all the experience that were never unpacked, all the thoughts that you never had time to feel, all the emotions you never had time to feel. All that safety signaling is allowing healing to happen, and healing is your brain's priority. It doesn't care like, hey, my priority as a person is I want to enjoy this relationship. It's like we have priorities here and orders, and that's not at the top of our list right now. We need to heal, and then we'll be able to enjoy this. And so your brain becomes obsessed and prioritizing with healing, which is wonderful. And this can look like a big mess. And I can't say that enough. So let me say a couple more things about this. And this is a shocking surprise to people because they are in a breakdown. It's a healing function, but it's a breakdown, and they feel like, am I getting worse? Am I ever going to come back? And oh my gosh, am I going to get this in time? Is my partner going to give up on me? There is a lot of insecurities that come out right here, and the emotions of the insecurity come up. Right? And now maybe we're so distressed, we start shifting back into fight, flight, freeze, faint, and fawn. And maybe we're like, I haven't done this kind of fainting and fawning or fighting somebody for ever since I was a child. And now that the person that I feel the safest with, I'm so excited to have found. I'm acting like my 7-year-old self who thinks mom, dad, brother, sister, teacher is dangerous. Like, and I can't tell the difference between my partner and them because your brain is processing old material now. And the safety that partner is sending you is signaling and triggering all of this healing. And now you feel like you're healing on your relationship time, and you are. This is one of the challenges of complex PTSD, complex trauma. And so what also is happening here is you're having these really good experiences, right? You're having these good experiences with this person, and they do this thing where they see you. I don't know what it is that they do, but your mind body system registers, oh my gosh, they see me and it's safe. It was safe. And in that place where you were seen, your brain is able to notice relief, and it's wiring in it's safe to be seen. But in that one space in your brain, your brain is also running what's associated with that space. And maybe in that space, this is the first time that you've really been seen like this, and you're so profoundly impacted. But your brain is also recalling and running the data of all the times you weren't seen and what that meant at the same time. So at the same time, you're trying to enjoy this person saw me, and you're feeling so relief, you might burst out into tears and sob uncontrollably because your brain is also remembering when it wasn't seen, when you were vulnerable, when you put yourself out there, and how abused you were or criticized or all these other things. At the same time, you're trying to really enjoy this. And your partner's like, what happened? Did I say something wrong? And you're bawling uncontrollably, and you want to tell them no. And maybe you do, maybe you don't, because you can or cannot get words out. And all that stuff's happening at once. If you know, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me. I had my most recent memorable one is taking my dogs to taking my dogs to a training facility, and they were so beautifully kind to my dogs. I wasn't prepared for the breed I got. I really wasn't. So, but they were so beautifully kind that it felt so amazing, and I spent the next 20 minutes bawling my eyes out. And I could just feel, I could see all these flashbacks of unkindness I had experienced in my life around places I really needed help. All the bad dog moments in my life. And I just saw the compassion that these people had and all the compassion that wasn't. And I just bawled for a while, and my husband just pat, 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 right? I just bawled because of this beautiful relationship moment with my dog. And I stopped, and then finally I stopped, and it was beautiful. And then I got to enjoy the whole thing. But I was prepared for this. My relationship was prepared for this. It was prepared to make space for my trauma. Right. And so I was good at that. I was like, oh, we're doing a grief run. I knew this. I didn't necessarily have to say this. I just went with it. And we can really learn to support ourselves like that. But the challenge is, if we get into this relationship and all this stuff starts happening and we have no skills, we're going to find ourselves in a mental health breakdown, because your brain is going to be running so much processing, and it might be more than you can tolerate. It might be more than you have skills for. This is a great time to get support. This is a great time to learn how to support your brain to stay in that healing process. This is why I share with people my 3 favorite interventions for shifting out of survival mode into processing mode and supporting the brain to stay in processing mode. right? You can learn how to use those interventions and use them in the moments like this that matter, that really help. And instead of crying for days and days and days, maybe you cry for an hour. Maybe you cry for 20 minutes. Crying is a healing function, right? And if we can combine it with some other supports like tapping or some breathing interventions I like, or some energy movements, we can move your body. We can remember that this processing is a physiological process. It involves your body. It's not something you think through. You actually have to move the emotion through your body, right? And your brain has to do that. You have to move it from the chest to the top of the head, wherever it is, right? From the hands. Our hands are going numb and tingling, or our legs are shaking, whatever. That stuff that actually it's a physical process. And so we need to use a physical process, which is a lot different than we're doing in talk therapy. And this is one of the reasons why talk therapy doesn't get us great results with resolving anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. It doesn't support this part of the brain with the safety signaling it needs to keep the shift and hold the shift, right? We want more involved with this healing than just our thoughts. We want our whole mind body system processing this, because there's a lot to unpack, and you're gonna have to. Your brain wants to do it. It's going to put it in front of you as if it's the only thing. You're going to notice a ton of flashbacks. You're going to notice a lot of emotional distress. You're going to notice that you're being jumpy or guarded, or you're fighting him or her when you don't need to be, when it's safe, and your brain can't figure out, it's trying to figure out if we're safe or not, right? We can help our brain figure it out faster by optimizing processing. That is an electrical process. It's very, very fast, but sometimes the stuff that we are trying to unpack is very complex. And so we actually need skills and strategies to untangle it so that it's easier for our brain to process. It's like a hamburger is too big for a 2-year-old, right? We break that up, we cut it down into pieces, we make it processable. That's what we do for the brain. If you have the skills to do this, this is the stuff I'm teaching in my program in Inner World Transformation. I'm giving you the strategies I teach people to use to help take apart things and feed it through their brain's processor so it can finally get processed. We want to finish these things. We don't want to suppress them. We don't want to stop them. We want to finish them. They are important. These experiences and emotion, this is the building blocks for health and wellness. This is what brains use to build health and wellness. So if you're saying, no, that experience can't go through, no, those emotions can't go through, you're denying your brain what it uses to build your health and wellness. And so you become an obstacle to your own health and wellness. And we want to change that by giving you the skill set and helping you pick this stuff apart. And if you're working with somebody that can help you pick it apart, awesome. That's what we're here for. That's my entire skill set. Right. And there are many therapists that have the skill set, and there are many therapists that don't. And please understand, if they don't have this and you need this skill, you need to help your brain process all this, unpack this baggage, you're going to need a specific skill set. And it's so often people are with therapists that don't have the skill set, and they wonder why they're not getting results, and they stay there too long. And time matters. You've done enough survival moding, right? It's time to enjoy your relationship. And so your relationship, you deserve to work through this stuff quickly. And which also means organizing your emotional intelligence, organizing your health and wellness, amplifying it. That's what happens every time we get some of this stuff moved through the healing process. You deserve that. If these don't get processed, they will continue to sabotage you unconsciously in your health, emotional, mental, and physical health, and the health of your relationships. And so we want to take it out of problem mode and get this stuff converted into health and wellness. These same memories that make you want to throw up or hide or feel ashamed are the same memories that, if your brain gets a process, will be turned into wisdom, maturity, strength, endurance, insight, clarity, high function. It's worth it. And it doesn't have to be painful. And it can happen at a very nice pace, but when you're already in mental health breakdown mode, too much is moving than you can handle. You're already in that spot where it's just too much. And so we have a couple options there. We can get you some interventions and get that stuff processing faster, get your processor up to even higher speed, see what happens. Maybe there's 1, 2, or 3 events that are really jamming the whole thing up. Maybe we just isolate those 3 and get those processed. And then your brain's like, oh, I got this. I can take it from here. And you notice that the breakdown ends. Maybe there's one emotion that your brain is like, I can't do this one. And it's going to, maybe we're going to work on that one emotion and get you out of that breakdown. And we can see quickly once we use the interventions, we could see how your mind body system's responding, right? And we can evaluate progress, and it matters. We're not here hoping for results. We are watching results. This brain function, this process open, creates tangible, specific results. We want to see those, or I know that process is still not working. And I don't want you trying to process stuff in a processor that doesn't work, because it's really, it's damaging. And I don't want you in that space. The other option is if we're watching and we're not seeing enough healing going on to pull you out of a mental health breakdown, we might want to pull on some more supports. Do we want to get some more providers on here, like acupuncture, massage, all the body workers, practitioners, see if that would help. Does that help? No. And then we want to look for other supports like medication or any of the supports. And we need to get enough support on your team where we get more processing. The more distress you have, the lower your processing goes. If we can't pull you out of distress and get you into a healthy place, just using interventions alone, we're going to build some supports, and then we're going to get to work processing using interventions. And then pretty soon your brain will take over more of it won't need as much support. It'll be able to support itself better because we're repairing. And that's this takedown thing that's happening in relationships is really healthy, because it's like your brain knows we can't use the old programs for this new relationship. And we never wanted to anyway. Ooh, this is our chance. Let's get this stuff off of us. Okay, but then it has to build something. And then, okay, so it took it all down and now there's nothing, right? And so now this is also making you insecure because you're like, I don't know what to do. And literally you can feel that way. I don't know how to respond. What am I supposed to say? That was really, right? You're waiting for your brain to build something in that spot. And I'm so sorry that your brain didn't have a chance to build that earlier. And it needs time to build it now. It needs support to build it now. So a couple of other things here. So when these good experiences can kick up a ton of grief, it can kick up a lot of anger at the people who you now know what it could have been like. And so now you're just mad at everybody and you're so belligerently mad you can't focus. That is a lot of anger, rage, and frustration moving through you. That stuff's so important that we finish processing it. It holds the keys to what's not working, all the boundary violations, and all the frustrations you have. So, and it's also the energy of new boundaries. And the more it gets processed, the better your boundaries will be. The less it gets processed, the more your boundaries are going to be wonky and dysfunctional. Like, I'm never letting that happen again. Probably not a boundary that's going to work very well. And the more your brain works on this stuff, the more it's going to be nuanced. Okay, when someone makes this comment, this is what it means. This is what we're going to say. This is our new way of being with that. And then you're sinking into a subconscious level and it's running. And you're not even thinking about it. You're just moving. And it's not harsh. It's kind, but it's assertive. And it's totally aligned with who you are. There's integrity. We want your brain to build that for you. And it's going to be fine if you're while you go through this mental health takedown and your brain is figuring out what it's going to build. It's going to try some things that aren't so fabulous, and it's going to take it back down. It's going to try some other things, take it back down. It's really nice to have some support here, and for you and your partner to know what's going on, and then you can build some language around there. I was having some flashbacks right there. I didn't mean to fight you or say that to you. That wasn't for you. You don't deserve that. Or I'm really distressed right now. I wanna show up here, but I need a moment to finish processing what's coming up for me. I'm not feeling safe, right? Also, in some of these relationships, the good feels so foreign that remember your survival system just wants safety, and no survival systems like new things because I don't know if I'm going to survive. That's their thought process. So, um, so as you're building having new experiences, like you're being hugged in a safe way, your survival system might be like, I don't know about this. I don't even know. Right? We want to make sure you're getting that safety signaling. Then in that moment, we can use interventions for this. And then your survival system is letting the whole brain work on it. We're safe enough to see if this is okay, to check it out, to use some executive functioning, not just react, fight, flight, freeze, faint, or fawn, get out of here, take your hands off me and run, um, and so we can hold your brain in a processing state using interventions there so it can go through its process of figuring out if this is safe. Right? We want to influence the survival system to let the executive functioning play here too. And so we're sending safety signals. We're using interventions to do this. Eye movements, different tapping, different breathing patterns, because we're talking to this part of the brain and it speaks a different language than thought. Okay. But the good feels so foreign. The brain has to, are we safe? Okay. Next thing is like, are we worthy? Do we deserve this? Is this right for us? This feels wrong. Why does this feel wrong? Brains have to work through all of that. That's actual stuff that your brain has to work for and decide for itself. You can tell it you're safe, you're safe, and that is not how brains work. It has to go through its process of learning it's safe. Then it's going to be like, oh no, you're safe. And you're going to be like worried in there. Your thoughts are going to be worried. And your brain's going to say, no, we're safe. It's good. Yeah. And you're going to check in your body and it's calm. They are going to support you to figure out that it's safe. And you, instead of trying to convince that part of the body, jump out of there and use your interventions to support your brain's process for figuring it out for itself. Okay. And it's a complex process, but it's fast. You don't need to, it's a simple process. This takes the least amount of skill, sending safety signaling. Okay. And I want you to do that for yourself a lot now. The more you do this now, the more you will spread this to everyone. This is yummy juice, awesome sauce for relationships. This is also when it's foreign and new, like I hear you. Are you supposed, your brain is like, it's going through the process of like, this is weird and strange. Like, aren't you supposed to be criticizing and abusing me? Like, and it's going through its process of like, what's happening here? It's shifting your reality. It's helping you figure out what's here now, what's safe now. And can you include that in your understanding of reality? Your brain has a process for this and it needs to go through it. And you do not want to interrupt your brain from going through that process. You want to support it. Yeah, figure it out. I know it's weird, right? Figure it out. Let me give you the safety signaling. Let me tap, let me breathe while you figure this out so I can support you, brain, to figure it out. Okay, so this is a very different way of working with the brain. We are not fighting with the brain anymore. We're not saying, why are you freaking out? We're saying, oh yeah, no, you got a lot of work to do. I can see why you're freaking out. Let me sit back and help you process this. Let me put my EMDR music on. Let me, you've already trialed these interventions before, hopefully, or you're going to start trialing them now so that you know what your brain likes, and you're going to use that in these moments. Okay. There's a lot of reasons why we have these breakdowns. Um, it really is because of there's enough safety to actually turn around and do the healing work you were supposed to be doing the whole time. You just didn't have the support to be able to do. That's what happens in survival mode. I'm not dealing with it now. That's what your survival system, we don't need to deal with that. We just need to keep surviving, right? And so the longer you've been in survival mode, there's more stuff to unpack. There's more healing to accomplish. And it's actually good. It's just we don't want this to take up decades of your life because it's slowed down. And it does, I promise you. And that's really a hard place to be, but it's true. So if you're decades in, you can still heal. It's time. Let's do it now. Because all we need is safety signaling. Let's help your brain finish this work. So also in these breakdowns, sometimes we notice that we are behaving very badly. We're behaving worse than our worst imaginations. We're doing things like trying to push people away, testing people, seeing if we can power and control the person and manipulate them. We can be doing a ton of terrible things because we're working out childhood issues with our safe partner. And so we can actually create a very toxic dynamic. But the solution is get your brain processing. Get your brain processing. You're not a terrible person. You're a person who thinks that they need to survive. And we don't get choices when we go into that part of the brain. Once we go into survival mode, we don't get choices. And also goes off the parts of the brain, and you don't get access to these, your values, your morals, your skills, your solutions, your resources, your perspective, your values. You don't get available. That stuff shuts down when survival mode turns on. And so that's why we start behaving badly. And if we were in a regulated state, we'd be horrified. And when we get to a regulated state, we are horrified. And there's more to process. So be easy with yourself through this process. It really does not have to take a long time, but there is a considerable amount of work to do. And do it. That's how you shift yourself and really um, align with your brain's priorities and really get an outcome that's really beautiful, and where you really show up as the partner and the person you want to be in your relationship. And um, yeah, and you protect your relationship. That's the only place you can, is from that healed place, from that healing place. This other survival mode, it doesn't care. It doesn't care about the relationship. That's not the design of the survival mode, survival system. It's only designed to keep you alive. We don't want to be operating from that part of the brain. So I invite you to take a journey with me. Try some interventions. Try my free program, Interventions for Inner World Transformation. Use those. Experiment with them. Trial them. Does it shift your brain out of survival mode into processing mode? Does it do that? If you find one of those that do, or if you already have an intervention that you already use that does switch you out of survival mode, and you want to see what your brain can do, and you want to learn some skills to really be a great partner and support and guide to your brain, and then I encourage you to enroll in my program, Inner World Transformation. This is my 8-week process where I teach you lots of strategies, the anatomies of events, how to help your brain through events, emotions, how to help your brain get really great at processing specific emotions, how to get your brain to resolve stressors. All of this is good brain practice. We're doing push-ups, brain push-ups. We're getting the brain good at all these things, and then we go into more complex things like subconscious programming, and how can you get those unraveled and rebuilt the way you want them? Yes, let me show you how. These are the exercises when we get there. Right, and then on and on and on. And I just show you how to do this. This is also my process for helping people resolve disorders of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. It's very powerful. I like to teach people it. I teach all my clients this because they're going to be with their brain more than I will. And I want them equipped to do powerful, awesome, safe healing so that they can be that person that shows up for their brain when they're in the shower, when they wake up from a nightmare, when they're in the middle of a conflict where the no therapist is going to show up. Your brain can still be supported there. Okay, you can still get, you can use those moments for massive healing and transformation. Like, you notice your brain is going to survival mode, and you could say, hey brain, I love that for us, but let's go towards this direction. And you can gently guide it over here, and then it's for learning, I like this better. This is a great mode, right? And so you're repatterning and teaching your brain, oh, take this path. Why don't we take this one? We know that one's there. We can always come back, right? And we're just very gently guiding the brain to stay in these states where health and wellness is being created. So there's a lot of really powerful opportunities. And if you want to work with me personally in a one-on-one or a small group coaching program, those are available on my website, rachelmcleod.com. And wonderful connecting with you. If you have thoughts, questions, concerns, go ahead and post them in the comments. I am reading those. And sometimes I use those to make new videos and answer questions and things like that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for spending this time with me. Talk to you later.